Good afternoon from Sacred Space. It's 12:28 p.m, Sunday the 30th of October 2022. It's a scorchingly hot day, springtime in Brisbane, Australia. Feels more like summer. My friend rang me first thing this morning, my first thing, which was about 10 o'clock. I'm really tired. I've been so busy with various projects and I'm staying up late, so I needed my rest. But even then I only had about 7 hours sleep, so not very good. But better than what I've been having, which was about 4 to 5 hours. Anyway, my friend Lynn rang me and tells me that the temperature's going to drop to 25 degrees next week, which is a big drop from 32. So I don't know, we're buckling and riding on this funk train to nowhere and rolling with the punches, as they say. Strange vibe, very strange vibe. So I decided to make this video because I've been talking about shifting the timelines as though I have any say in the matter, as if I'm that powerful, because the type of shifting of paradigms and timelines and, changing history and the fates of humanity is really only in the lap of the gods. And since Mr. and Mrs. and Ms. and Mix Joe Average have long forgotten their gods, it's not a simple task to shift reality back into a more salient and congenial and peaceful and lovely vibe, right? But yet we're doing it one breath at a time. Charlie just decided randomly she wanted to give me a smooch. Charlie, you want to kiss your mummy? Oh, Charlie. So anyway, I'm making this video because there's been a few things happening that I felt were a bit weird. It's like spiritual, godlike, metaphysical is ramping up, and that is both a good thing and a bad thing, in the sense that normal people unaware of the magical side of things will be completely unconscious of it, and those of us who are a little bit more aware will be watching in a little bit of curiosity and consternation, because curiosity killed the cat, but information brought it back. I feel a bit naked talking to you. I haven't even got earrings on. It's very unusual for me to not be wearing earrings or jewellery of any kind. I've got my bracelet on, but I'm going through life a little bit naked today. Anyway, so what I'm making this video for was Friday the 28th. It was a very, very hot day, very hot. And I got the urge to run, as I do with my trauma issues. I have the urge sometimes to go on little expeditions or adventures or little outings. And because I don't have a lot of petrol in the car and it's expensive at the moment, don't have a lot of money, I couldn't go very far, which has been a problem for the last few years, that I've become very almost bordering on agoraphobic and not wanting to go anywhere, not even wanting to go to the supermarket. And of course this is conditioning from our COVID regime, but I've never been fond of supermarkets, even in the good old days before this event happened, because I don't know, ever since childhood I've really not been keen on supermarkets at all. But anywho, it's hard for me to go to the supermarket. Oh, there's a beautiful white butterfly flying towards us. And I have to really make myself go. I'm at that stage now where my fridge is completely empty and there's not a lot in the cupboard anymore, and I've run out of milk, I've run out of bread, So I'm just biding my time until payday on Monday, when I'll have to go and buy groceries. I'll have to, because there's nothing to eat. And I'm just skirting this very fine line, and it's mad. It's not like me. I usually have, a few things in reserve, like at least I'm using my long life milk at the moment that I had stored away for in case of emergency. So I guess it's become an emergency now that I'm having to live off that. Anyway, I'm not bothered. I get paid on Monday and everything will be sweet again for another week and a half till I run out. Living life on the edge, people. But don't worry, I'm used to it. I've been living like this for, 28 years, so what else is new? But that's not why I'm making the video. Why I'm making this video, I keep digressing. So Friday was an intense day, intensely hot. And I woke up and I felt this energy of, I have to get out of the house, I have to get out of the house. And that's not irrational, because I've been housebound for weeks and weeks, working on various projects for my new market stall, which I'm hoping to manifest into something thriving and fiscally supportive, at least with a bit of extra pocket money a month. I dream on, psychedelic dreamer. It's one thing I'm very good at, dreaming. If I could monetize my dreaming, I'd be a multi-millionaire by now. Honestly, it's ridiculous. But, it's not even really about so much wanting extra money, but just giving myself a bit of a hobby with a driven goal, something to attain to take my mind and put my energies into, look at all these white butterflies, they're just delightful. Put my energies into something positive that is life-affirming and creative and gives me an outlet for my anxiety and PTSD and loneliness, really, sense of isolation. Because I sit there, there's my studio windows there. I sit there and I work away and I watch, videos by people like Thomas Sheridan, and I like the Dark Horse, Brett Weinstein and Heather Hayden, and I haven't watched them for a while actually, but I've watched them, quite a few of their shows, their podcasts, and I watch occult type shows, and I watch esoterica, so I'm sort of educating myself or re-educating myself while I'm usually plutzing and fiddling with some piece of jewellery I'm working on. So by doing that, I'm avoiding interacting with other humanoids, except when I go dancing on the weekends. It's my only real public interactions. Even then I have my own little spot, which I sort of keep to myself a fair bit. And and I just live in my own little psychedelic dreamers world. It's my nickname, people. And, in Titania's realm, and make my things for my Titania's realm business, and commune with the Fae and the gods and the angels, or whoever wants to, come through with interesting inspirations and advice and guidance. And, and the days go by, and I'm getting older and frailer, and sometimes even more despairing, because I worry what kind of a future is ahead of me as I age alone, without, family or a partner or much in the way of support. So it's a bit scary. It is a bit scary. Anyway, so Friday came and I had to run. That urge to run was very primeval. And I thought, well, where am I going to run to? I don't have a lot of petrol, and it was scathing hot. But I had it had become an obsession. I wanted to buy a thick piece of foam to use as backing inside my very large cutlery canteen that I turned into a jewellery box. Oh, there's another fabulous butterfly. Honestly, it's glorious. That was a really big one, looked like a monarch, but we don't get monarch butterflies in Brisbane, I don't think. But it was big and orange. Anyway, so I hopped in the car, I drove down to Capella, and even that took every ounce of will, because for some reason I don't like going to, shopping malls, or I just don't want to go anywhere. And it's so unlike me. I used to get in the car with my kids when they were little, and we would traverse right across Brisbane, right to the outer outskirts of Brisbane. That was in the old days when I was involved with the Women's International Zionist organisation, and we used to have morning teas, and there would be at different people's homes. It would be all over Brisbane, and I thought nothing. Getting in the car, driving, an hour and a half to go to these meetings and hang out with these, women and participate. And in a way, it was a good thing, because it helped me learn my way around Brisbane, because I'd only newly migrated here at that stage, and I needed to, learn how to traverse the city. Now, if you tell me to go drive an hour's drive down the road, I balk at it. I'm not scared to do it, but I balk at it. It's like I've become so insulated and isolated, and I don't like that. I'm a free spirit. I like to journey around and see new things and do new things, or at least I used to. I used to like that. So maybe it's the ageing process, or maybe it's this COVID oppression. I don't know which it is, whether it's ageing or oppression, but it's really hard for me to go wanting to travel. I need to go to Redcliffe, to look for sea glass on the beach, which I want to, if I can find some nice pieces, turn into jewellery, right? And it's sort of a riding obsession in the back of my mind. Do you know, I can't seem to motivate to get in that car and drive an hour to go to Redcliffe. And it's a lovely spot there. I've been there a couple of times over the years. But it's almost like I'm asking myself to go to the other end of the planet. And it's almost like I want to, but I don't want to. It's crazy. I need to find a nice man or a partner that says, come on, Tanya, we're going to Redcliffe. Get in the car and will just take me to places, which I know sounds like the lazy way out. But maybe that's what it is. I just need that motivation of going somewhere with someone that's as excited about life as I am generally, and will just motivate me to get on with things. But, one doesn't need a man to do that. Like, I have a car. I can get in, go anytime, as long as I have the petrol, and just do it. But I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's not right. It's just not right. Fantasising about a man to take me on little day trips or little holidays, as if that's ever fucking happened. It's just insane, all of it. Anyway, I've digressed. I've gone off on all these weird tangents. Friday. Let's get back to Friday. So I more or less forced myself to hop in the car, because I wanted to buy this foam for my box to try and shield things, protect it. It didn't work out at the end of the day. I got the foam. I got it cut to the right size and everything, but it didn't work out. So back to the drawing board on that one. But I just sort of laid it on top of the box so that it will protect, things that are in there, and store it that way. But I wanted it, it gets the upper portion to hold jewellery in place. It didn't work out. So that was a silly idea. But anyway, that idea, I drove to Clark's Rubber in Capella, and I walked in there, and I bought some other foam to use to transmute into ring display for my new market stall. I'm struggling to get off the ground, but anyway. So I got that. I grabbed the foam outside in the discount, where they chuck out the offcut. So I grabbed some of that. That was perfect for my needs. And then I walked in and I asked the man there, I said I need foam that's fairly, thick density but still soft enough to put. And he just looked at me like I was an alien, but then he sort of thought about it for a bit. He said, oh yes, you'll need higher density foam and acoustic foam, blah blah blah, it's more expensive. And I just stared at him, because everything I want, no matter what I buy, this is a lifetime of this, it's always more expensive. It's always something that is always, I have to go the extra mile or pay extra for everything. And it's driving me nuts, But anyway, I sort of felt the foam, the various gauges of foam, and I agreed with him that I need the more expensive one because it was a little bit firmer. So I said, okay, how much? He said $14. $14 for a piece of frickin' 25-inch by 15-inch foam. And when you think about it, it's insane, really. But anyway, I bought the bloody thing. He's cutting it up. He was a strange man. He looked really pissed off, like he didn't really want to be dealing with anyone that day. And while he's merrily cutting up this foam I ordered, some other lady came to be served, and then his tape measure was getting in the way of where the foam as he was moving it, and I went to retrieve it so it wouldn't go flying, and it went flying anyway. Anyway, it was all a bit weird. And then he got all precious about his tape measure as if I was going to steal it, for the love of God. And I said, I was actually trying to help you here. Like, I just saw the funny side of it. But anyway, he didn't turn out to be too unpleasant after all. He came over to the till and charged me for the foam, and the other bloke was on the telephone not serving, so it wasn't a terrible experience, but it was just weird. It was a bit surreal. It was like, I don't know what I termed the zombie apocalypse. It's just everything seems so inverted and upside down, and maybe that's why I'm avoiding going to the shops or dealing with anyone, really, because it's a spooky experience for me. It's like living in an actual horror movie all the time. Things I used to watch for entertainment have now become daily reality. Anyway, so I thought, well, maybe I'm being a bit negative and weird, because I can get a bit negative and weird. So anyway, I paid for the phone and I threw it in the car. And then I got in the car and I decided that I would go to a second-hand shop and I'm looking for unusual, brightly coloured, pretty old vintage tins, or even modern tins, but that are really lovely patterned to make jewellery from. And I'm on this group on Facebook. They have the most really ornate tins. I can't find them anything like that. I don't know where they're getting their stuff. But they have really pretty things. I mean, I'd like that. I'd like to have a crack at doing that. Anyway, so I thought, well, I'll look for tins and I'll look for any other bits and bobs that might be interesting, And I only had about $40 left, something like that. So anyway, here's where it gets surreal. I don't know whether it was because of the stinking heat or what, but I got some kind of weird brain fog. And I'm driving. Capalaba is a very busy suburb, lots of lanes of traffic. So I'm driving and I got to the lights and I had to turn right, and then I had to drive all the way down to the next major roadway and then do a U-turn and come back. And then I drove back, and then after all that shenanigans and finagling, the bloody great big Solvo's second-hand store was actually right next to Clark Rubber in the next driveway, only I couldn't see it, and had driven past it and gone all around this big circuit, which was mad. It was completely mad, but not my fault, really. So I had a chuckle to myself. I thought, it's so hard to even access things now with the traffic and the roads and signage and everything, the way it's designed. It's surreal. So anyway, I got there and I still couldn't get into the driveway because I pulled in one driveway too early. So I parked up the back of some baby bunting shop and walked in the heat. That was mad too. And it wasn't a long walk, but it was just so hot and I didn't want to be doing anything. So I walked around the front of the buildings and up the other side and right up the back to the salvos. I walked in there and I looked around and I had this feeling of deja vu, like I've been there before, but I haven't. I haven't been there before because I couldn't even find the place. And I was like, okay, have I been here before and forgotten, or am I just having this weird, almost out of body moment here, So anyway, I thought, well, stay calm, carry on, Tanya. So I'm looking around at everything, and I spent a long time in that shop looking at everything. Didn't look at clothes till towards the end before I left. But I looked and looked and looked, and I picked up this wooden box that holds photos, and it was $4, and it was like a brand new knick, and almost brand new, hadn't been used. Put it in my little basket, and looked at it and thought, I don't need that. It wasn't a very nice one. I've got nicer ones at home. I don't really need that. It's not nice. I was going to zhuzh it up and glue things on it. I thought, no, I don't need it. It's just ridiculous. I put it back. I very rarely do that. When I pick something up to buy, I usually have the intention of keeping it, but I thought, no, I don't need that. Put it back. I'm thinking, I'm right off my head here. I'm right off my head, I thought, hi. Anyway, I'm looking at the shelves, and I was looking for really nice pieces of china that I can cut up for jewellery too. Nothing really grabbed me, and then I was looking for silverware, and of course second-hand shops don't tend to sell sterling silver, but sometimes they have quite pretty plated pieces. I was looking at that, nothing really grabbed me. It was all not very good quality, and I don't want to sell things that aren't good quality because I can't get the price for it anyway, and I don't want to be stuck with things that are of no value. There's sterling silver ultimately I can melt down if it doesn't sell, which is still a waste and a shame in a way, but it can be transmuted into something else. So anyway, so I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking. I spent a long time. I think I was in there about an hour really. And weird vibe in the shop. Didn't like the vibe much, but that's okay. I was looking around, thinking about what I want to do and what I need. I actually bought a few little stationery books that look like, like little journals that were like still brand new. So I bought those, and then I found some tins, but they weren't fancy and ornate like what I was hoping to find. But they were a bit sweet. One was shaped like a little house with a little veranda on the top, a little awning on top. $2. So I bought that, and another one had a little what do you call it? Musical thing. I've got to go. I'll be back. Video number 2. I'll get to the point of the story. I've got to go. I'll be back shortly.